Aloha and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to have a fun lesson, I believe. It is chapter 13. It's going to be project 13.1, the joystick. And in this lesson, we're going to get to play with the little joystick button that we have in here. We're going to have the usual suspects, and we're going to bring out the joystick, and we're going to have a number of jumpers. These jumpers are going to be the female to male uh, leads, and you're going to need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So you're going to need 5 for this project. The components we're going to use the joystick. This is an input sensor, and it's really neat. It's got 2 different types of sensors in here. We've got 2 sensors for the X and the Y axis, and these are potentiometers, just like the ones that we used before, the rotary potentiometers. So we've got one for the x-axis and one for the y-axis. And then we also have the Z, which is the pressing the button down. And the difference between these is the X and the Y being potentiometers. These are going to be using your analog digital converter to actually get a reading on that. But the press is up and down. That's a binary. It's a digital signal. So we're going to use a digital read for GPIO for the press, the button, the Z-axis, and the X and the Y. These potentiometer, the rotary potentiometer ones. We're going to set those up on an ADC. So the schematics for it look like this. So we've got the X and the Y-axis when they're 90 degrees to each other. Then we've got the Z-axis, which is just up and down. So here it is. So the wiring on this, we've got the ground wire, the 5-volt. We've got the X and Y axis, and then we've got the Z axis, just the digital. So it looks like this. The wiring is pretty simple. Just hook up your female ends on the pins on your device here. Keep in mind the ground. If you've got the wires coming out on the left side, your ground is going to be on the top. Then you've got power. You've got your X, Y, and your Z axes coming right off of that. So let's go ahead and look inside of our build here. So I've gone ahead and I've taken our nifty neato little device here. So you can see that our joystick, you can see, first of all, ground, 5-volt, X, Y, and Z axis is there. So this, we can go in all directions here. We can go all over the place. So that's your X and Y, and then you can push it down, and you can hear the clicking here. That clicking is the up and down motion there. That's your Z axis, and that's going to be a digital read as opposed to the potentiometer readings of X and Y here. So this is a really neat little device. And we're going to go ahead. I've already put the leads on here, but I've color coded it as close as I can to the leads as well, or the diagram. So anyhow, try to hook this up like that. And we'll start with our ground. And our ground, we can just run to ground over here. So let me put it right there. So I'll just stab it into here. And then the next one is our power. I like red for power. So we're going to take red. We're going to put that into 3.3 over here. So we're going to put that into 3.3. So we've got that there. And then the next one we're going to have is going to be our x-axis, which I've got set up as the blue wire. And for blue, I'm going to run that to pin 28. So pin 28 is an ADC. So we're going to put that in here on our ADC. And then we're going to use our green, I believe. Yes, our green one is going to be pin 27. So we're going to go ahead over here and use that on 27. And then we're going to set up our last one, which is our Z-axis. We're going to put this onto 26. So we're going to run this over here to 26. So once we get that done, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the power and hope that I don't smell bacon. So it's plugged in, and I'm just going to, so for the next part, I guess I'll go back to our VS Code, because really all I'm going to do is mess around with this joystick, and you'll be able to see that on the small screen. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share the screen and show you, I'll show you this screen over here. I'll bring up VS Code, and our VS Code here is pretty simple. We're importing ADC and pin. We're going to set up ADC on pins 28 and 27, and we're going to set up pin 26 just for to be used for in. We're going to use it for input. We're going to do a pull up on it. And then we're going to set up this infinite loop, and we're going to be printing out the values that we read in, the X, Y, and the Z values. And you can see here that we're reading from that 2 to the 16-bit ADC, which gives us values between 0 and 65,535. And the same for over here for the Y value. And then for the Z, we're just getting a value which is going to be 0 or 1. We're going to sleep for all of a tenth of a second, then we're going to go ahead and loop back. And we're just going to keep on getting readings over and over. So it's a really simple thing. So we're going to do, we're going to just click on run. And without touching anything, you can see that it's getting values in here. And we're not doing anything yet on our joystick, but notice I'm going to push down on it. So when I push down, notice we're getting a 0 there. So we're getting a 0 there on our Z axis. So if I go all the way up to one extreme corner, which is kind of correlating to 0, 0, we're getting numbers that approximate, I guess, the start of it. I don't know why exactly it's not going to zeros here. It seems like it's starting somewhere like around 336 or something. But when we release it, it goes to like the middle numbers. And notice it's not an exact reading. It's kind of flipping between very close areas, 33,000 and something. But it's just because it's so finicky. And it's a rather cheap device too. It's not that terribly accurate. But if we go to the other end up here, we can see if we go up to the, you can watch it here at the other end, we're going to the end of one axis. So it's going to give us, we go up and try to pin in the corner, we get to that 65,535 for the most part. And we're still down at, 330 or 336 or so. If we go down to the other corner, we get a reverse of that. Then if we go in the extreme corner, we get 65,535. And then we can always press it down and get that 0 in the third Z column. So this is kind of neat. You can use this now to control your game. So you can, if you had this plugged in and you were controlling some kind of a, if you had a Python program running that was doing all kinds of graphics, you could use this to get your inputs. So you could have a little Mario jumping around on the screen. So this is how you control that input. So we're using 2 potentiometers in here and a GPIO pin for digital for the, for the jump. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video. Aloha.